Alright, so welcome to another lecture called Daily MCQ Practice. This is a lecture series that I've started so that you're in a habit of practicing MCQs daily. And what type of MCQs you're going to practice? You're going to practice MCQs from current affairs. You all know the importance of current affairs for UPSC preparation, especially UPSC Prelims Examination. Current affairs are extremely important, and MCQ practice from current affairs becomes extremely important because of that. Therefore, what you have to do is you have to inculcate a habit in your preparation. And what is that habit? Consistently on a daily basis, you have to practice MCQs from that day's newspaper, from that day's current affairs. You see, you'll get two advantages, or I should say three advantages out of it. If you're going to watch this lecture series daily, if you're going to follow this lecture series daily, well, then number one, you'll gain or you'll benefit by revising current affairs. Because we are going to practice current affairs. We are going to practice current affairs through MCQs. We are going to read current affairs through MCQs. So that day's current affairs are going to get revised. If you haven't read the newspaper that day, well, your current affairs are going to get covered. And MCQ practice. You'll get the much needed, much talked about MCQ practice, which is important for prelims examination. All right. So if you watch this lecture series daily and you make this lecture series a part of your daily routine, well, you stand to gain these three benefits. All right. So make this lecture series a part of your daily routine. There is no need to repeat this, but if you are covering 4 to 5 MCQs daily from that day's newspaper, well, then you'll be covering 100 MCQs by the end of 1 month. So 1 month's current affairs plus 1 month's current affairs, 100 MCQs from those current affairs, right? And in 1 year, you'll be covering 1200 MCQs. And 1200 MCQs, well, it's more than sufficient for your current affairs topic or current affairs subject as far as UPSC Prelims is concerned. So watch this lecture series regularly. If you are watching it, 4 to 5 MCQs would amount to 100 MCQs in 1 month, 1200 MCQs in 1 year. Okay? All right. Now I won't take take any more time of yours. It's very precious. So let me start with question number 1. All right. So mind you, these questions, these MCQs are from today's newspaper. Okay. So question number 1. Consider the following statements regarding hooch. Its name is derived from tribe based in Nilgiri Hills called Hoochino. It is a form of homespun alcohol which does not follow all safety protocols and leads to methanol poisoning in some cases. Methanol poisoning causes metabolic acidosis, which can be treated through a drug called fomepizole. So select the correct option from below. Well, you see, recently in Tamil Nadu, people have died because of consuming hooch. Now, what is this hooch? Well, how many people have died? 38 people have died and 100 have been hospitalized. That's why this hooch is in the news, and that's why we are putting an MCQ in front of you related to this topic. So what is hooch? Hooch is basically local homespun or homemade alcohol. All right. Now, where does this name come from? Well, hooch, the name of this local homemade alcohol comes from a tribe called Hoochino. And this tribe was in Alaska, USA. This tribe was famous for making very strong alcohol, right? So all the local alcohols or all the homespun, homemade alcohols also go by the name of hooch. That is why we call it hooch, because it comes from Hoochino tribe, which was not in Nilgiris, it was in Alaska. All right. So first statement is false. It is a form of homespun alcohol which does not follow all safety protocols and leads to methanol poisoning. Absolutely correct. You know, in all alcohol manufacturing, there are two processes. Number one process is fermentation, when yeast is added and alcohol is brewed. Okay. So anyone who is manufacturing alcohol, well, the first process they do or the first procedure they follow is fermentation. Through fermentation, they produce methanol and ethanol. All right. Ethanol is what we call alcohol. It is fit for human consumption, but methanol over here is poisonous. It is poison. Okay. So the next process, the next procedure that these alcohol manufacturers follow is called distillation. Now, what is distillation? Separation of methanol from ethanol, because methanol is poisonous, ethanol is fit for consumption. Plus, distillation also increases the percentage of alcohol in a particular mixture. Okay. Now, hooch manufacturers, people who manufacture hooch in their homes, well, they don't have the luxury of buying expensive equipment. Their equipment is very rudimentary. Their equipment is not up to the mark. That is why at times they commit mistakes. And because of those mistakes, sometimes methanol gets mixed with ethanol. and then people consume that mixture and they get methanol poisoning, which is very dangerous. It might even lead to death, as was the case in Tamil Nadu, where 38 people died because they consumed methanol contaminated alcohol. All right. So second statement is correct. Now, if someone is suffering from methanol poisoning, well, they can take a drug called fomepizole. That's absolutely correct. But this drug is very expensive and not so accessible or easily available in India. That is why places where this drug is not available, doctors actually treat the patients with methanol poisoning with ethanol and water. A mixture of ethanol and water. Mixture of ethanol and water, well, it is in 1:1 ratio. Okay. Third statement is also correct. Only two statements are correct. The answer is B. Okay. Now let's move on to question number 2. There is this another examination scandal. There is, we all know about NEET paper scam. Now there is another exam called UGC NET, University Grants Commission NET Exam, which is again, it has been cancelled because, well, there were some irregularities. So that is why this was in the news and we are asking a question from it. It is conducted twice a year for PhD admissions and awarding of junior research fellowships. Okay. It is conducted by National Testing Authority. This exam needs to be qualified by candidates looking for a job as assistant professor. Okay. So look, UGC NET exam is conducted by NTA and it is conducted twice every year. NTA stands for National Testing Authority. Twice every year, that is once in June and then in December. Okay, so it is conducted by National Testing Authority, absolutely correct, twice every year, June and December. Okay, now why do students give this exam? Well, this exam is important for 3 things. If you are looking for getting, or if you want to get admitted to any PhD program, so for PhD admissions, UGC NET exam is important. If you have done your master's and your MPhil and you're looking for a junior research fellowship, JRF, well, for that, UGC NET exam is mandatory. And third, if you want to apply for a job of an assistant professor in any college, for that, UGC NET exam is important. All right. So statement 1 is also correct and third is also correct. All statements are correct. The answer is C. Okay. Let's move on to question number 3. Consider the following statements regarding Indira Sahni case of 1992. It was a 9-judge bench Supreme Court judgment that prohibited 27% reservation for socially and educationally backward classes. The criteria for creamy layer 27% OBC reservation was given in this judgment. The 50% ceiling on reservation can in no circumstance be violated as per this case. Now, what is Indira Sahni case? Look, in our constitution from the very beginning, reservations for SCs and STs is permissible. It is not violative of right to equality. How much reservation is available? Well, around 23%. After Mandal Commission report way back in late 1980s and early 1990s, where our politicians, especially Parliament, enacted a law, constitutional amendment, and a law which permitted for 27% additional reservation for OBCs. In our constitution, OBCs are referred to as socially and educationally backward classes. Now, this extra reservation for OBCs was challenged in Supreme Court. The case was called Indira Sahni case, and it was a 9-judge bench of Supreme Court. So 9 judges gave a verdict on this. The 9-judge bench of Supreme Court allowed for 27% reservation for OBCs. They did not cancel it, so it did not prohibit. It actually allowed for it. So this is false. Okay, but after allowing 27% reservation for OBCs, the Supreme Court, the apex court, also said that not everybody from this OBC category is allowed a reservation. Okay, there are people who are very affluent, though they do belong to OBC caste, but there are some people whose fathers are bureaucrats. There are people whose fathers are very big shot businessmen. Well, if they are OBCs, they shouldn't be given the benefit of reservation, right? So that is why Supreme Court also came up with the concept of creamy layer, under which children of or people who belong to affluent families, bureaucratic families, even though they are OBCs, they are not allowed reservation. Okay, so the concept of creamy layer was also given in Indira Sahni case. This is absolutely correct. In the Indira Sahni case, Supreme Court also gave this judgment, or Supreme Court also gave this order that no amount of reservations shall exceed 50% ceiling. That means that reservations can be provided by the government, whether it's central government or state government, but the amount of reservation should not exceed 50% of the seats. And Supreme Court said that we are doing this for the efficiency of administration. so that administration remains efficient. That is why not more than 50% of the seats shall be reserved. So this 50% ceiling was provided by Indira Sahni case. This is correct. But Supreme Court also said that though on a general level, this ceiling shall be honored, this ceiling shall stay. But in exceptional circumstances, this ceiling can be broken. Okay, so in exceptional to exceptional circumstances, governments can provide reservation which is more than 50% also. So in no circumstance it can be violated. No, it's generally not to be violated, but it can be violated in exceptional circumstances. So this is also false. Only one statement is correct. And last question. Consider the following statements regarding International Yoga Day. As you guys know, 21st June is International Yoga Day. The theme for International Yoga Day in 2024 is Yoga for Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. One Earth, One Family. The first Yoga Day celebrations were held at Rajpath, New Delhi in 2015. The blue color in the International Yoga Day logo represents water element. Okay, so as you guys all know that International Yoga Day is celebrated every 21st of June. And why is it celebrated? Because in 2014, yes. In 2014, United Nations General Assembly passed a resolution which said that on 21st of June every year, International Yoga Day will be celebrated. And the first International Day for Yoga was celebrated in 2015. It was led by Prime Minister Modi on Rajpath, New Delhi. All right. Now, so first Yoga Day celebrations were held at Rajpath at New Delhi 2015. This is absolutely correct. In fact, the first Yoga Day celebrations also broke 2 Guinness World Records. The first record was the maximum number of people that can attend a single yoga session. So some 35,000 people practice yoga together. And the second record was people from different nationalities. More than 80 countries, people from more than 80 countries participated in it. Okay, so first statement is correct. Now, the theme for International Yoga Day in 2024 is Yoga for Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. No, the theme is Yoga for Health and Society or Community. Okay, for 2024, this is the theme. This was the theme Yoga for Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. It was way back in 2023, not in 2024. So this is false. Now, as you guys all know, International Yoga Day also has a logo. It looks like this. Okay. The third statement says the blue color in International Yoga Day logo represents water element. So the blue color absolutely represents water element. Let's talk about other things also. These brown leaves represents earth. Green leaves represents nature. This yellow thing represents or light represents fire. Okay. This sun represents source of knowledge. Okay. And this person who is folding hands. So the joining of these two hands represents joining of individual and universal consciousness. All right. And this is what International Yoga Day's logo is all about. So the third statement, blue color in International Yoga Day logo represents water element. This is also correct. Only 2 statements are correct. And the answer turns out to be B. And with that, today's session gets concluded. Thank you so much, everyone. And I hope it has added value to your preparation. If you do not think that it has added value to your preparation, trust me, it is adding value to your preparation, provided you make this a part of your daily routine. You don't have to spend much time, not more than 10 minutes. But if you follow this lecture series, well, by the time you're ready for your prelims examination, your current affairs portion would be foolproof, solidly prepared. All right. Thank you. I'll see you next time with MCQ practice for 22nd of June. Okay. Thank you, everyone.